Hey, shalom, shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Those in the gospel brother from the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just going to be a quick lesson, Lord's going to be edifying. Though this is a pretty lengthy article, proves that this man Esau, Edom, is the devil the Bible talks about. He's destroying the earth, okay, because they have something which is called botanical sexism, okay, which is basically trees, they procreate, okay, like basically trees have sex without having sex. And that shows you how bad our Lord is, man, how cold the Most High is, because, I mean, everything on the planet Earth works together in perfect unison. Like you have something which is called photosynthesis, which basically the sun, you got the rain, you got the trees, okay, and you have the trees that basically breathes in carbon and it produces fresh air, fresh carbon, so we can breathe. Okay, like one reason when Esau pollutes the earth, he sprays chemtrails and all that other nonsense. He's pretty much disrupting the way that the cycle of photosynthesis works, because if he's destroying the life cycle, then the trees are not going to be able to filter out the bad carbon or the bad air, because trees are basically filters. Okay, they're basically air purifiers, man. So in order to for the tree to function, it has to have sunlight and rain so the roots can grow. Okay, and then the sunlight and the rains and the atmosphere produces the what you call the carbon. Okay, which we breathe out carbon dioxide, and when we breathe that in, the trees inhales it, and then on the back end it replicates it and it produces fresh carbon so we can breathe, hence fresh air. Okay, tree creates carbon, fresh air, which is carbon dioxide, which is what we breathe in or breathe out, and then it produces sugars also. Okay, but see what Esau has done, he's basically disrupted everything, because now what I found out is that trees in fact do procreate. Like you have female trees and you have male trees, which proves that everything has a gender to it, either male or female. It's no in between, no 365 particular genders. Okay, what happens is once a tree or a male tree, it lets off these particular scents, whatever, these particular fumes, and what happens is the female trees, she pollinates it. Okay, the pollen that the male tree lets off, and then she pretty much pollinates the seeds, and that causes different plants and different trees to sprout, which is the Lord is cold-blooded, man. Okay, that's the beauty of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, because everything within the earth or within the atmosphere, even within our bodies, it works together in a unison. But what does Esau tries to do? He breaks everything down. Why? Because he's the destroyer. Okay, like he's the destroyer of worlds, and this is what he does. He can't allow peaceful solution or anything of unison or beauty to flourish, because that's not in his nature. And this is why he has to be taken down, quite frankly. Okay, because I mean, without trees, you're dead. And the reason why people are suffering from all types of allergies and so forth is because basically the trees, man, there's too many male trees. Okay, it's not enough female trees, and when they cut shit down, they plant these particular trees, and it's out of balance. Okay, and on top of that, that's why trees are halfway sprouting, they're dying off, and we're basically taking a hit from bad carbon or from bad air. That's the reason why people are suffering from allergies, bronchitis, etc. So long story short, this man has to go, but I'm gonna read a little through this article because I found it very interesting, man. Okay, but it says April's pollen apocalypse hanging over the city of Durham, North Carolina. That's why it looks like a hazy green. It says on this past April, the residents of Durham, North Carolina saw the sky turn a peculiar but familiar shade of chartreuse. It says enormous clouds of a fine yellow green powder engulfed the city. And it's basically the male trees letting off their fruit. You know, like when they say that you bussing, this is basically a bunch of male trees that's letting off their scents, man. And the reason why it's out of balance because there's not enough female trees to pollinate it to create the seeds and to give it a balance, okay? Hence, you have ecosystems out there which is totally disrupted. It says here, enormous clouds of a fine yellow-green powder engulfed in a city. It says it looked and felt like the end of the world, but your car was suddenly yellow and sidewalks was yellow, but the roof of your house was yellow, says Kevin Lilly, assistant director of the city's landscape services. It says residents quite fittingly called it a pollen apocalypse, okay? And that's the reason why they're not sprouting as much, you know, because Esau, for one thing, he's spraying all those chemicals, okay? And like I said, it's not a balance of these trees, okay? And they're basically, it's just like, basically like if a man don't deal with a woman for a long time, what does he result to? And eventually, one thing leads to another. So basically, these trees, man, they're just letting off their fumes because there's nothing to pollinate. And it says here, male trees are of the most significant reasons why allergies have gotten so bad for city dwellers in the recent decades. It says that they're indiscriminate spewing their gametes in every direction, and we know what that means, okay? It says they can't help it. It's what evolution built them for. No, it's what the Most High built. All right, but it says this is a find in the wild where female trees drop pollen to fertilize their seeds. So basically, that's like a way of the trees mating. That's cold-blooded. The Lord is beautiful, man. Trees are mating. That's cold, and no, the trees ain't humping each other, man. Okay, no, but the Lord, he set this planet up so beautiful, so perfect. Everything works in particular unison. It's called an order. Okay, but what did Esau do? He's destroyed that order. All right, but it says here, but urban forestry is dominated by male trees, so cities are coated in their pollen. It says Tom Organ, what is called a horticulturalist and author of Allergy-Free Gardening, Revolutionary Guide to Healthy Landscaping, was the first link exacerbated allergies with urban plating policy, which he calls botanical sexism. It says in trees, sex exists beyond the binary of a female and male. Some, such as cedar, mulberry, and ash trees, are dioecious, meaning each plant is distinctly female or male, okay, which shows you that these are living organisms, man. But hey, Esau have this PRIDE month going on, which shows you that just throws everything off, man. Okay, next thing you know, you're gonna have a TG, a trans, what tree, you know what I'm saying, and identifying with it is sickening, man. You people are sickening. All right, but it says here, others such as oak, pine, and fig trees are monoecious, meaning they have male and female flowers on the same plant. But it's easy to identify female trees or parts. They're the ones with seeds. And yet more, such as hazelnut with apple trees, produce perfect flowers that contain male and female parts with a single blossom. It says, but while both the monoecious and male dioecious trees produce pollen, Oregon claims the latter are primary to blame for our sneezes and watery eyes, okay? Because like a lot of times when you city building, they plant male trees. They don't plant for females. It's kind of sporadic that they do so. And this is why everything is overly out of whack. All right. But it says Oregon has been talking about this botanical messaging for over 30 years. But after buying a house in St. Louis Obispo with his wife, who suffers from allergies and asthma, Oregon wanted to get rid of anything on his property that may trigger an attack. Okay. It says he began examining the neighborhood plant by plant, and he noticed something unusual. All trees were male, right? So you see that's out of balance, man. Just like if we had a world full of just straight men and no women, man, it'd be all types of chaos. Like if you had just a world full of females and no male counterpart, these women would literally lose their minds, man. All right. It says at first he thought this pattern may have just been a strange quirk from one city, but when he studied frequently landscape plants in other cities, he noticed the same things, males all the way down. And right away, I started realizing that there was something weird going on, he says. But while tracking down the origin of this trend, Oregon stumbled upon perhaps the first trace of sexism in urban landscaping in the 1949 Yearbook of Agriculture. It says the book advised when used for street plantings, only male trees should be selected to avoid the nuisance from the seed. Ain't that some shit? Esau is trying to stop the way that these trees procreate, man. That's a damn devil right there. This man is trying to halt nature from reproducing, man. He wants to replace nature with artificial nature. Okay, artificial intelligence, AI, robots, okay, concrete, metaverse. Okay, he don't want anything green that glows. Okay, he don't want fresh air. Like, it's so weird. Like we've been having these extravagant temperatures for the past week or so, week and a half. And I noticed he ain't sprayed no chemicals in the air. Why? Because he sprayed all the chemicals last month so we can therefore defy by this heat. Okay, when he wants it to be extra hot, okay, and humid, he'll leave that sky alone, man. Okay, but when it's like a 70, 75 degree day, sunny, he's gonna spray up the skies, man. Okay, to keep people sick. Even in the time of the winter time, you notice that the skies are always gray and cloudy, full of haze. Okay, it's either left or completely left with Esau. It's never a perfect balance, man. Okay, because he doesn't operate within the reason of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Like the scriptures say, unrighteous balance is an abomination to the Most High. So, you know, you look outside right now, it's a nice day, okay? It's not that, it's 95 degrees, but it's still pretty cool out because it's not humid. But if you look in the air, there's haze. So guess what he's gonna do to fix that? He's gonna spray chemtrails, okay, and allow it to clear up so we can get hit with this heat. And when that perfect day comes, what he's gonna do, he's gonna make the sky hazy. It will never be a perfect day dealing with this damn devil, man, okay? So matter of fact, I got a couple of precepts, man, because the scriptures go into trees and so forth. And like the Most High, like when you think of a wife or a husbandman is a person that tills the earth, okay? Like a man when he puts his seed in a woman, okay? That's why they call a woman Mother Earth, okay? The man puts the seed in it, which represents the male tree, and then the female, you know, Mother Earth. So like when you have a woman, that's the whole point of a husband, okay? Gardening, planting. And what do you do with your woman? You put your seed in her, okay? And it brings forth for many you. And that's the same thing how nature, that's all nature is about, creating, okay? The glory of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, to create, man. All right? So let's go to Genesis, the first chapter. All right? So it says, in the beginning, the power created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the spirit of the power moved upon the face of the waters. And the power said, let there be light, and there was light. And the power saw that the light that it was good, and the powers divided the light from the darkness. And the powers called light day, and the darkness he called night, and in the evening and the morning were the first day. Okay, and that's the whole point, the creation. All right, but let's go down a little bit, man. This is Genesis 1:11. It says here, and the power said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, okay, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind. Okay, how would it yield fruit after its kind if it wasn't any type of procreation in the mix of that? You see what I'm saying? There had to be some type of a nurturing for that to happen, okay, because trees don't just grow themselves, okay, it's a process, okay, but Esau has this artificial way of life that he come and plant trees like, okay, like around where my mother stays at. Back in the 80s and early 90s, I mean 60s, it was beautiful landscape. They had what they call pine trees out there. They used to grow these acorns on the trees, and they have this sticky pine sap on it. Smells good. We thought it was poison because it used to get sticky, but no, actually it's actually a sap. You can make an incense out of it. You know, smells very good, and it was perfect for that particular because they built like a proclamation plant, like a waste dump out there where she stays at. And I noticed when the air gets real funky and shitty, those trees in that pine scent will activate. Okay, you can smell the pine cones, man. Okay, so you had those natural trees, you had berry trees out there, maple trees, beautiful landscape, hills. You know, you was literally able to eat the fruit off the tree. But Esau came in there with this renovation project, and he left some of the trees there, but a lot of them he cut down. Okay, because what happened was when crime started to get bad in that particular area, see the complex, like if you lived out there, you would know it. And it was very easy to disappear in there because the buildings are tall, they were dark, okay, and it was a lot of landscape in there, beautiful complex. So Esau, he decides to come in there and open it up and illuminate everything because, you know, for one thing, his whole thing of remodeling and crime and all this shit. So he cut down about 80% of the big trees out there, and he replaced them with these small artificial trees. I'm like, dude, you just did yourself a disservice, man. Okay, and the people that live around you. But see, that's the nature of this freaking Edomite. This is why he has to go down. Okay, and it says here, the yielding seed and the fruit yielding tree, fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself, okay, upon the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind, and the power saw that it was good. Okay, so this was good. Okay, the creation, it was good. Okay, and this is what it's saying here. That's why it says here, he began, matter of fact, go back up. Yep, it says, when it says of itself, it says that the trees are monoecious, meaning that they had male and female flowers on the same plant. Okay, so that's the whole point. It said it's easy to identify female trees or parts that are the only with seeds, and yet more, such as the hazelnut, okay, that go to nut, okay, apple trees produce perfect flowers that contain male and female parts with a single blossom. See, there you go. You look inside a flower, everything is through seeding, man. Okay, like when people plant a garden, they put certain seeds down to grow certain plants. It says, but while both male trees produce pollen, Oregon claims the latter were primarily to blame for our sneezes and watery eyes. Okay, so going down here, it says urban forestry's apparent sexism seems to boil down to our distaste for litter. It says the USDA reasoned that tiny allergenic or allergenic spores are likely to be blown away by wind or washed away by rain, making pollen an easier civic task to manage than, saying, overripe fruit or a heavy seed pod that would need to be cleaned up by actual humans. Well, job security, man. Get over it. But it says, but the preference indicated by the USDA recommendation is one element of the story. It says the other is something more tragic, but from an arboreal perspective. But in the first half of the 20th century, hermaphroditic, not so allergenic elm trees towered many of American streets. But in the 60s, a virulent strain of Dutch elm disease, a fungal illness spread by the bark beetle, stowed away on a shipment of logs from Britain. Basically, like a lot of times, man, when you used to get shipments from overseas, they contain certain beetles and tree-eating beetles and all that other shit. Esau did that. All right, he did that because he's a devil. Okay, he tries to destroy life itself. That's why the Lord said that he's going to destroy him that destroyed the earth. All right, but it says here, fungal illness spread by the bark beetle, stowed away on a shipment of logs from Britain. What are the coincidences, right? It says the fungus wiped out some of American cities' longest lived trees and left many streets almost entirely devoid of green or shade. This man is a demon. By 1989, an estimated 75% of North America's 77 million elms were dead, according to New York Times, and he did that on purpose, man. All right, but it says city planners and landscapes repopulated the nation's barren, sun-scoured streets, according to the USDA guidelines, with more than 100 new varieties of maple clones. Oregon says all male. Okay, you see what he did? All male trees. He even got the trees being at odds, man. This man is a damn demon. All right, it says, and all these trees matured, they shed increasing quantity of pollen. So allergies is basically systematic created through these trees. It says nurseries began selling more male plants too, in part because it's easier to clone an existing tree than to wait for males and females to pollinate each other naturally. There you go, plan God. But now it's just not the trees and shrubs, but the ornamental plants sold in urban nurseries that skew males. Botanical sexism runs deep, Oregon says. It says, in a cruel kind of irony, urban landscapers had prioritized female trees in the same way. Neither pollen nor unsightly seeds or fruits would be much of an issue. But if they had done it the opposite and planted hundreds of female trees with no males, it would have just been just as sterile and tidy without any pollen, Oregon says. It says female trees don't make fruits or seeds if there are no males around. See how they complement one another? The male and the female, not the other way around, which is a cut to your PRIDE month. It says a large tree will scatter the majority of its pollen within 20 or 30 feet from its roots, Oregon says, so relatively isolated female trees simply wouldn't bear much fruit. It says another argument propped against female trees is that certain ones can produce an unpleasant odor. It says, for example, when a lady ginkgo tree is in heat, it produces an odor not dissimilar to rotten fish or vomit. It says Oregon seeds at this point, but if a city planted only female ginkgos, decreasing the chance of fertilization, there would be neither pollen nor infamous noxious postical odor, he says. But Oregon sees ginkgo gemmates as far as greater threat. But unlike most every other plant, ginkgo trees produce motile sperm capable of swimming in the pursuit of germination. While human sperms each have a single tail or flagellum, ginkgo sperm have around 1,000. So once pollen gets in your nose, it will germinate and start swimming up there to get where it's going. It's pretty invasive, okay? And I'm gonna just end it there, man. But that shows you that this devil, man, he don't let shit take its natural course, and that's why the Most High got to get him up out of here. All right. So matter of fact, let's go to Isaiah the 44th chapter. All right, Isaiah 44 and 17. Because this dude, man, he's wicked, man. All right. So this is the book of Isaiah 44, and I'm gonna start at verses 14. It says, he hewn down cedars and taketh the cypress and the oak, which he strengthened for himself among the trees of the forest, man. It says, he planted an ash, and the rain doth nourish it. Then shall it be for man to burn, For he would take thereof and warm himself. Yea, he kindled it and baked bread. Yea, he maketh a god and worshiped it, because people actually worship trees, man. Like people, you actually got a thing now in this culture that you can marry a tree. Okay, you can claim it for yourself. You can marry it. All right, and then like a lot of witches, okay, they consider childs of nature. A lot of them, that's why they go out in the forest and the woods, because hey, they resonate with trees, because trees represents life. Okay, like when you're breathing, that represents your life force. So therefore, a lot of people they adhere with trees, man. Trees are very peaceful, but also you can use it in a wrong manner too, because hey, you're not supposed to worship no goddamn tree. Okay, trees are put here for the benefit of the earth and the humans, and for us, the Most High said that we were put here to enjoy the earth. Okay, now me personally, I love trees. Trees are beautiful. Okay, trees are very beautiful, especially in the summer. I mean, in the spring, in the fall time, when that red and that yellow and that orange. Like we had one of the most beautifulest falls last year. I mean, it was beautiful. I took a lot of pictures of the forest and of the trees, man, because it was very peaceful. But we need trees in order to survive here. That's why a lot of times when Esau lives out in the damn country and he cuts down all these trees, he wonder why he got to get solar panels, because his fucking energy bill is that high. Like trees in the area, it keeps the air cool. It warms down the temperature of the atmosphere too, man. That's why when you have a 100-degree day and you like in a very shaded area, it's pretty cool out there. Okay, but when you want just a slab of concrete, you're on a highway, that heat is gonna radiate from the ground, you know. Hence, this is why Esau he has to go down. He's the devil, all right, because he doesn't know how to till the earth. He doesn't know the ins and outs of the earth, and this is why he has to artificially assimilate every damn thing. Okay, and it says here, he make it a god and worship it, and he make it a graven image and fall it down there too. And he burned part of it in a fire, which is therefore he eateth the flesh and roasted the roast, and is satisfied. And yea, warm himself, says, aha, I am warm, I have seen the fire. And in the residue thereof he maketh a god, even his graven image, and he fall down into it and worshipped it and prayed unto it and said, deliver me, for thou art my God, man. Okay, it says they have not no understanding, for he have shut their eyes that they cannot see, and their hearts that they cannot understand. And this is going into Jake, but ultimately, man, this is what they do, man. Okay, that's why the scripture says, since thou art laid down, no fellows come up against us. So I'm gonna bring out another precept real quick. This is the book of Deuteronomy 20, and I'm gonna start at verses 18. It says that they teach you not to do after all the abominations which they have done unto their gods, so ye should sin against the Lord your God. But when thou shalt besiege a city a long time and making war against it to take it, thou shalt not destroy any of the trees, man. Okay, and be honest with you, America is besieged. Okay, he took it from Gad, and what did this man do? He cut, like, this whole land was full of this whole land from point A to point Z was nothing but wooded and forest areas. And what he do? He cut them down and he built up these skyscrapers, man. Built up his businesses. This is the reason why he wants to do away with farming and agriculture. Okay, because he wants nobody to be self-sustained. Okay, he wants everybody to depend on his grid so he can play the Most High. It's all about Esau having a God complex. All right, because like right now, if you go to the country or if you go out in the Midwest and the sticks, bro, there shouldn't be no homeless people. Okay, like we have so much land in the world, like you could fit them to the whole world's population in the state of Texas alone. But when you come to the Midwest, you have nothing but farms out there, thousands and thousands of acres of land, and he wants to build on all of that. Like it's this one area, man. The woman at the time I was dealing with, she stayed. It was this one area, you know. I used to be over there quite a bit. It was this apartment complex, and then right across the street, it was like a little wooded area off the highway, followed by a neighborhood on the side of it. Beautiful little area, man. You know, just set the scene. Trees, it's peaceful. But he come through about a year or two ago, and he cuts it down and he builds up a damn apartment complex right there. Okay, this man has to go. All right, and it says, and on top of that, when you cut down a tree, I believe you're supposed to plant two in its place, because you could chop down a tree, but you got to plant two. Okay, because it's a balance to it. And it says, in making war against it to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them. For thou madest eateth of them. Okay, because certain trees produce fruit. Okay, we just read that in Genesis. Okay, you got crab apple trees, man. You got maple trees. You know, you got shit out in Puerto Rico. They got orange. You know, they literally got fruit growing on a tree. You could literally take an orange off the tree and eat it. You know, and it says here, For thou mayest eat of them, and thou shalt not cut them down. For the tree of the field is man's life. So what are you doing destroying trees? We need it to breathe, bro. To employ them in a siege, okay? Because let's just say when you taking over a city, in a particular city, man, you need your trees to hide behind. You need shield, rest, food, to breathe, okay? Trees was a big advantage of God too, man. That's where a lot of the guerrilla tactics come from. You know, God hung upside down that tree and grab you upside down and cut your shit off, man. A lot of the CIA use that tactic. It's called guerrilla warfare, which is pretty much a basic tactic that the United States military or the Marines, they kind of expert in, you know. CQC, close quarter combat, which goes back into guerrilla warfare, which hints the fatigues, okay? And you notice that fatigues represents what? Trees. They're green and brown, you know, the wood and the leaves, man, so they can blend in, all right? You got different types of terrain gear, so to speak. Like if you fighting out there in Desert Storm, or you know, in Saudi Arabia, you got different types of fatigues that can blend in with the sand, you know, so it's beautiful, man. They got that from Gad. But it says, only the trees which thou knowest that they be not trees for meat, thou shalt destroy and cut them down, and shall build bulwarks against the city, and make it war with thee, and to be subdued. Okay, so look up the word bulwark. All right, this is why we go into words, man. Okay, which goes into the Hebrew word masar, which means siege, enclosed, siege, entrenchment. Okay, it's kind of like a barricade. Okay, enclosed siege works a rampart. You know, like when people barricade themselves in, like when you watch those horror zombie movies, what are people barricading their houses in? Mainly wood. You know, they put the boards up, etc. You know. All right, so let's go from here to the book, and I see why when this man goes down, I see why the trees are gonna be rejoicing, because this is the book of Isaiah 14, and I'm gonna start at verses 5. It says, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continued stroke, and he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindered. Right, man, this man is destroying life itself. I mean, you're oppressed. You oppress the fucking trees, man. Goddamn, no wonder why they bald, and the reason why it's taking months. The tree, it's June and the trees are just now fully sprouting. Okay, like we still had bald head trees in May. Okay, like literally trees were like half sprouting, you know, because Esau, man, he's spraying all this stuff in the air. Everything is out of whack. And basically we are becoming the trees, man. We're breathing in all the bad toxins, and that's why we're dying, man. Okay, and the trees, they only doing half the job because they're dying off. Like I went to this one work site, and I want to say 80 to 85% of the trees in this little development was dead. I mean, it was to the point that you had a full standing tree. I guarantee in the wood and the bark was so brittle and so weak, to the point I guarantee you, any brother that put enough power, you could probably kick over a 20, 30-foot tree. That's how weak the roots were. You could literally take the tree, and if you hit it or you ran into it with all your might, you could literally topple that tree and uproot it, man. That's how fucking dead it was due to Esau, man. Okay, that's why he has to go down, man. He got to go. You know, a concrete jungle, which proves that the Edomites, America's a big cave, man. It's a valley and a cave. The hell you think downtown represents? And prove that the white man is not Esau? That is self, you know? And it says here, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet, and they break forth into singing. Right. Salakia, my allergies bother me now. But it says the whole earth is at rest and is quiet, and they break forth into singing. Okay, because actually the earth has frequencies to it. Okay, like when you go outside, you hear nothing but exhaust fume. You hear exhaust, you hear cars, you hear trucks. Okay, I mean, you hear birds here and there, but overall the earth has a frequency to it. But Esau's throwing that frequency off. Okay, you got certain frequencies that's peaceful, but yet you go outside, you hear nothing but machinery, ruckus, chaos, and that's why everybody is bugging out, because we ain't on the right frequency right now, man. But when we get in the kingdom, literally you come into your house, your trees, your plants, okay, your walls, they're gonna be ministering unto you, man. Like mushrooms, they sing, man. Okay, you can't even hear it because everything is so bugged out and thrown off. But literally, like the flowers of the field, they sing, man. And when Esau gets out of power, we're going to get that back, man. Okay? And it says, yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fella is come up against us, man. A fella is a person that chops down trees. Okay, what's his name? Paul Bunyan, the big giant Edomite. Okay? All right, but one more precept, and I'm going to shut it down. I believe you brothers got the point. This is Revelation 11, And I'm gonna start at verses 18. It says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and thou should give reward unto the servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth, man. All right, so I'm gonna end it there, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashimi Hawashai. And with that, Shalom and a ball.